Hey, this is James from The James Show, coming at you from sickness, sort of. Um, Doing a redo here for those of you who are watching live. A little bit of technical difficulty. But anyhow, I have been sick this week, so I wasn't able to really arrange a guest, and the show is definitely abbreviated. What are we going to be looking at? Mr. Sunglasses is going to be looking at City Skyline. It's a pretty good city building game. For Table Talk, we're going to be talking about Runequest. It's a pretty fun role-playing game. We'll sing a song, see who might be around to chat or Twitter. Probably nobody. We'll see. So let's get started with Mr. Sunglasses and City Skyline. Bling glasses today because I'm a mayor. So, City Skyline. Oh, my citizens are unhappy. It basically does everything that SimCity did wrong, especially in this newest one, and kind of fixes it. As you can see from this start, aside from the fact that everybody hates me, it's a pretty nice looking game. And as you fly around the neighborhood, you can see there's actually cars, there's police, there's even people that you can click on and see how they are. Apparently I'm having some sort of medical pandemic going on. But that's what I get for kind of leaving the game running in the background. If you've ever played any of the more recent SimCities, you know, it's got the zoning, got, or just about any SimCity really, you know, residential, commercial, industrial, and it's got the regular bar, you know, what's required. Roads to connect everything up, power. See, up here's my power plant. I built wind power plants, and so this kind of marks where the best wind is. Water, you know, got water and sewage. It is neat that this game does pay attention to flows. It actually shows you, see, the water flow is going this way, so I build my pumps up here because the sewage drains down here. And so it's draining all the yucky water that way, so you definitely don't want to build a pump down here where it'd be extra yucky. Sorry, a little stick still. A lot of it. We got a little bit of some garbage dump here. Landfill. 2 of 15 trucks currently in use. Here's some of my industrial district area, and it's polluting up a storm as it tends to do. We've got some residential mixed in with a little bit of commercial. You can see I got some commercial district street kind of down here. I guess I got a bit of a factory and industrial there. And just like every other SimCity game, you got health, fire, police, education, and public transportation, and you got beauty works and unique buildings and monuments. And other than that, it's straightforward. Manage your city, manage your money, make everyone happy, manage your budget, your taxes. You can set taxes. What's nice is you can actually set taxes on like all the different zone types. Like low residential and high residential can have different zone types or different tax types. And of course, loans. You can get loans, as has been a case of SimCity. And it's just a great city building game. There's weather effects in the game now, and it goes from day to night as the month kind of goes on. As you can see, I believe it's about to go to nighttime. It looks like it's getting a little dim. And at night, the game can really look pretty with the lights coming on and everything. It just looks really neat. If everyone's not already dead in town, because I think I have some sort of plague or epidemic. See, as the sun's going down, you can see the shadows get long, and it gets to be evening. And you can actually budget different for day and night, depending on what you feel like is going to be needed. Just as a fun little neat thing, but just look at the city at night, all the lights and the street lamps and the dead empty houses from my zombie plague. Not really, but yeah, it doesn't really have the disasters that SimCity does. That's kind of a SimCity thing, but that's okay. It's fun once in a while to make the monsters rampage, but it's not really, my thing with it. I'm interested in the city building. One nice thing that it does is, you see, it seems like a small area, much like SimCity. That was one of the big complaints of the new SimCity. You can buy new parcels of land, and you don't have to load up into a new game in order to use them. You just expand your city and start using them, and expand your city as part of it. There's no, I gotta load up a different city in order to play the rest of my city. Overall, best city building game on the market for my money. Definitely worth a check out, and it's an indie-ish game, so it didn't come out at full price, and it's been out a little bit now, so it's got a decent price tag on it. You can probably pick it up somewhere on sale. And if you're at all interested in the city building genre, I strongly recommend it. Check it out. Alright, what we got next? We are going to talk a little bit about Runequest. Runequest was a fantasy role-playing game published originally in '78, so it's older than I am, not by much, by Chaosium. And it uses the mythical world of Glorantha. It's one of the first really, you think of Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance and stuff. Glorantha came out before those worlds, and it was way more fleshed out than anything that had been seen at the time. And it still is, if you really get into the detail and the history of it, it still rivals, the Forgotten Realms and all those places. In England, where tabletop role-playing was really, really big in the 80s, it was just as big as both the Dungeons & Dragons and Traveller. Did have a smaller following here in the US, but it's still around, and it's a great role-playing game. There was a ton of source material available, and while many settings at the time that it came out were really kind of cobbled together, RuneQuest had this huge, vibrant world at the start. Just here is Glorantha, this fantastic history. Even today, it doesn't follow the weird sword or the standard sword and sorcery kind of feel to it. Like the metals in the world are actually the bones of the gods, the avatars of gods that have died during this gods war that happened way in the past. So when you're mining up metals, it's actually the bone of a god's like avatar form. And metals is kind of interesting. This almost everybody uses bronze because bronze doesn't interfere with the people's magic, which I'll talk about in a second. Well, iron does, and then you can actually mine aluminum, and there's silver and gold and all this stuff. When you wear it as armor, it kind of interferes with your flow of the universe for whatever reason, but bronze doesn't. Bronze is a universal metal. And dealing with magic, a key element of RuneQuest is the fact that every character, for the most part, you didn't have to, picks a cult. It's a religion. That they follow a certain god, and the gods are all like interconnected. They all are their story and their pantheon. The whole thing is interconnected, and gods have names in one pantheon and different names in another pantheon, but they're the same god. You can tell that, and they have different, and not so different names, but different titles. Like in one is the Sunbringer, and over here he's the Stormcaller, and over here he's, the Doomhammer. It's just, he's a bad guy in this one and a good guy in this one. And depending on which version of the cult can kind of vary your magic also. And players progress through their cult, starting off as basic initiated, knowing a couple little magic, and can build up to be rune lords and rune priests, which RuneQuest comes from. And there's a lot of things. There's also crazy things with the cults. Like some cults can give you extra powers, but you have to take prohibitions. Like you can't talk to non-cult members. That's a sucky one to get because they're usually random. The game is big on what you roll. Let the dice fall where they may. Criticals are brutal. One of the most common thing. I know we're off on a tangent. I'll get to the game system in a second, but it's the rolls can sometimes screw you a little bit. But it was back in the 80s. That's when you rolled 3 dice 6 down the board, and that was your Dungeons and Dragons character. Oh, you got 3 8s. Sucks to be you. Hope you got a stat you can use. Magic is everybody has access to magic. They have power points that basically they use to spend the spells and. So you didn't memorize spells, you just had spells you knew, and like this spell costs 3 power points, so you spend 3 power points. Or this spell costs 3 power points or 5 power points, you spend 3 or 5, and you get them back over time. Now, as for the game system itself, it uses die 100s. All your stats are 100 based. And like I said before, it's a brutal system. Combat is tough. Sometimes when you get hit, it hurts a lot. You have armor in different locations. At first it seems kind of clunky and tough, but once you just start rolling all the dice together, and you can just bam, bam, bam. But you have armor on your left arm, your right arm, and because you have hit locations, every hit location has its own hit points. In addition to you having a total hit point pool. If your total hit point pool goes down, of course you're dead. If your head hit point pool goes to 0, you're probably dead. But you can lose an arm or get maimed. Criticals are particularly bad. It was very common for when someone rolled a 100, which is the most common number for critical, because it's a percentile system and it goes up, so you want to get low. The shout is, that man is not my friend, because there's a lot of tables on there was, you miss and hit closest friend. So the joke was, well, I'm not his friend, so you didn't hit me. It did. Our game master at the time didn't really follow that logic of I'm not his friend. But The rules for advancement were also interesting. It wasn't experience points or anything like that. If you succeeded on a skill, you put a little check next to it. And then when the DM figured enough, GM, excuse me, it's not a dungeon master, it's a game master, as enough time has passed, he'll say that everybody can make their checks. What that means is any skill that has a check next to it, you roll, and you try to fail. If you fail, the skill goes up. Depending on which version of it, it goes up by a die 6 or a die 4. We normally play with the standard, it goes up by a die 5%. Because it's easy to just keep it in 5% increments. It's easier to calculate the criticals and all that stuff too. So if you fail the roll, you go up. So the higher up, then the better you are your skill, the harder it is obviously to fail, so the harder it is to actually improve. It's a neat system, and it was actually adapted and used for a ton of other games. Stormbringer, Call of Cthulhu, Worlds of Wonder, Superworld, EverQuest, Ringworld, Pendragon, Hawkmoon, Neophim, Elric, just... and it's still being used today. Call of Cthulhu is still around. RuneQuest is still around. ElfQuest is a little bit around. Wingworld, Pendragon. They're games that have been around, all based on this system, because it just works. It's simple to know. You roll a die 100. What's your percentage in your skill? A 35. Okay. Did you get a 12? Yes, you passed. Okay. Did you get a 42? You didn't make the climb. And like I said, the combat system at first seems a little tough to get a hold of, but you're just rolling a percentile on a die 20. So you roll, did you hit? Yes. Okay, where did you hit? Their head. Then roll the damage, and you just subtract their armor from it, and that's how many hit points they lost. It's still, it's a little bit more clunky, but it's still... and part of that reason that it works so well is that combat is brutal. You get hit once or twice, you're done. So combat is quick, it's fast, it's brutal, which is what actually D&D 5 is trying to go back to, because I know in 3.4 or 3.3.0 and 3.5, combat in Dungeons & Dragons started to slog. It was just so many abilities and powers, and I think that 5, they're starting to get better at it, where it's just... because that's what combat needs to be in these types of games, to keep the player's attention. Even in 5, I still have some trouble sometimes. I'm like, hey, come on, guys, we got to get through this. It's just, granted, we do have a bigger party. We have 6 party members, normally. Never more than that, God, no. But, it's the combat needs to punch, it needs to hit, it needs to go, It's your turn. It helps bring the players to that sense of urgency also, and this really did that with, it's just like, oh crap, this guy hit me, this could be it. I haven't taken a single hit all game, but he just hit me and he rolled a 20 on that die 20. That 20 means he hit me in the head. I hope my helmet's strong because that guy's about to put an arrow through my face. In the end, Runequest, if you haven't heard of it, it's been re-released. It's got a bunch of new setting books for Garantha back out. And even if you happen to look on eBay, I would suggest 2nd edition Runequest if you're going to go back to the old school. But either way, get the 2nd edition stuff. It's got fantastic setting on Glorantha that hasn't really changed. They've maybe advanced the time a little bit. But, it's a fantastic setting, and it's a great game. And if you're interested in just the setting that you kind of heard, there's a strategy game called King of Dragon Pass that's also based in the same world, and it's a fantastic strategy game. So it's on PC, Mac, iPad, no less. So check that out too. Anyways, RuneQuest. It's a pretty awesome game, and I suggest you check it out if you get the chance. So, now the table talk is done, I guess it's time for a song. And it does not appear to be anybody particularly talking right now, so we will be doing a random word for this horrible song. Tutor. Okay. So the word is tutor. Okay. My hat for the day is the Punisher hat out of the loot crate. Okay. Lord. A good song for tutor. Sometimes I feel like I just can't do fractions. Sometimes I just don't remember who signed the Declaration of Independence. That was kind of a squeeze. So I need to go find me somebody to help me. Find me a tutor to teach me the way. He'll help me with my math, teach me about chemistry, help me with my English, and maybe macrame. My high school's got weird classes. Don't even judge me. My tutor will help me. He'll show me the way. Help me with my math and stuff. And my chemistry. Physics, that's way too tough. Oh, he can't help me. Maybe I'll learn about Noah. Wait, that's not in school. History book, what's that? Whatever, it's cool. Tutor. My tutor's gonna help me learn the way, folks. Is Noah in history books? I don't know. Anyhow, my tutor. That's what you get. Thank you very much. My hair's messed up more than normal. The song's mostly bad. The word was tutor. I'm still kind of sick. Not that the song would be much better if I wasn't. And unfortunately, well, that's going to be our show for the day. So, thank you very much for watching and checking us out here on The James Show. Email james@thejamesshow.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff as The James Show 00. So you can check me out. You can just go to thejamesshow.com. Most of the time I get all the videos up there pretty quick once they're on YouTube, and we talk about Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of stuff on the side also, and anything else that might be going on. So until next time, I'm James, and this has been James from not the downtown kitchen, more like kitchen adjacent. We've moved locations. So until next time, stay cool, everybody, and thank you very much for watching me and my humbling and hobbling through this show. Yeah.